All right, peace and blessings, family. Happy Sunday evening. I'm joined by Black people. We have some guests today, y'all. Sister Ifa Moduplay, Brother Michael, and Sister Javon. We're going to be joined more with Mike B. will be on here, and our Sister Kelly will be back on here. But I wanted to kind of get my people together and kind of talk about the election and what does that mean now that it's over. What kind of things we should be looking forward to. Everybody say Black folks don't work plans, which I'm just saying everybody, I'm being kind of silly a little bit. But there was some Black plans on the table when we thought we may have Trump again, and people saying please vote for Biden and Kamala and all that. So now that we got these two people in here, since we got top cops in the building and Black folks are still fighting the cops, we want to see how do y'all feel about first of all, the presidential election, because we talk local elections on Wednesday, but today it's about local elections. How y'all feeling about what we got going on? Do we take breaks right now? Like, what do we do?
Well, ladies first. I was gonna wait.
Okay.
Go ahead, Javon, because you know I'm gonna catch the low hanging fruit.
Okay, how do I feel? I feel like I'm trying to get myself together because I'm just getting off this plane. But I don't know. I feel like it's a little too early to celebrate. I'm not saying that on the obvious, the accountability piece, because Black people, particularly Black women, got this man elected for real. And I think that the way he should start his presidency right off the bat is by acknowledging that. But that's the longer term thing. I still feel like we got some violence that's gonna come up very soon. I don't feel like Trump is done. I feel like he's strategizing at his golf course, and that this is gonna be a long run. I don't feel excited about Biden winning. Of course, I didn't want Trump in the House. I don't even know how they're going to recover at the White House from, when he gets out of there. But I also am not a liberal, and I don't feel happy about Biden. I feel like Biden is going to cause us to let down our guards once again. I think people just generally was tense when Trump was in, because it's like, he don't like you, you're not getting nothing. But I feel like we celebrate when we have Democrats in, and things don't generally get better for us. But there's the perception that they do, the perception that we can be freer. But if we were to look back at facts, if we would look back at history, in the ways that we tend to talk about growing, like in wealth and areas like that, we don't do that as a community. We have a few people that do it, and then the rest of our community is fractured, and that's the part we don't want to talk about, is the fracturing of the value system of our community, that if we strengthen it will help us do better as a group. That's how I feel, at least, about it. So I think that it's not time to celebrate. I think it's, first of all, time to survive whatever this man is going to do, and then after that to hold him accountable. And I'm just really sad that Stacey Abrams is not that VP candidate. And that's
we know she's slamming, but he was not going to put a descendant of an enslaved person in that position. But they will take other Black people. This is the second one we've had. First we had Obama. Father's from Kenya, mom is white. Now we have Kamala. Her mom and dad is not from America. So we know we got to discuss that as a people. Like, I don't know why we keep trying to take every Black person and make them the Black experience when they haven't clearly had the same struggle. But Stacey still did what big mamas do, did what mammies do. No disrespect. I don't think mammy's a bad word. They get the job done. You can depend on them.
Can you let me in?
Okay, hold on, Jay. What did we let you in? Hold on for a minute. All right, y'all, hold on, because she just made me echo. Hold on. I'm getting you back in, Jay.
Okay.
Jay?
Okay, thank you.
And you were here twice. Hold on, something wrong.
Well, that was
his cell phone. I was
Okay, good. Okay, the echo went away. Okay,
I feel
so
great.
that's all. But anybody else want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a lot of questions, because we have a tendency to collapse things on top of each other. Like, we could celebrate Trump not being reelected, but I think it was premature to celebrate a Biden-Harris ticket without proof that there's tangible, measurable goals when it comes to the Black community. We're dealing with a lot of stuff that's very serious, especially for Black women. And it's nationwide. And so if some of those things are not at or near the top of the list, then we don't have any reason to celebrate that ticket. They have to give us a reason to celebrate the ticket, because I feel like all of the conversation in advance was weak. We got caught up in the symbolism of having someone Black or brown in office when Obama was elected. We can't get caught up in that again, because that's like buying into tokenism. If we don't see measurable results, then we fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
But you have to remember also too that people always say what Obama had. You still have to remember that the Senate and the House plays a major part. And if you don't have enough seats with the Democrats, you're going to be you're stuck. So even if Trump would have got elected and we had the House, he would have been dormant. He couldn't have moved. So people get caught up in Obama didn't do everything. He still has to run everything through the House. He can't just say, I'm going to give all my people this, or it's protocol.
He could. Because he did that for gay people. He did that for immigrants. So he could.
But I feel like
He did stuff for other groups as well.
Administration aside, like, we dropped the ball in some major ways during the Obama administration, in that we just relaxed into, we got a Black president. A lot of the activism that happened to get Obama elected kind of like relaxed when he was in office. And like, I don't want to see us do that again. I would like to see us be able to take control of local politics, really be active in legislation, like really pay attention to what's coming across the table this time, regardless of who's in office. Like, we need to engage if we say that we care about the political process in this country. Now, for people who say they don't care, that's fine. Don't engage.
Right.
But if you really feel like that's what makes the difference, like you're going to be in the street celebrating another president, then engage. Like, play your part then. Because in other countries where you see people marching and protesting and burning stuff down, that's what they're doing. They're engaging in the political process. And when it's time to show up, you don't got to go drive them to the polls. You know what I mean?
Everybody's jumping and screaming, and Joe Biden really ain't got the best track record, and neither does Kamala. So I'm confused why we're just doing all this turning around and screaming and popping off guns and doing all this. I want to see you work, because neither one of you
was popping off guns.
You know, we don't celebrate without popping off guns. What you talking?
You know, over here where we play, you know, we play, you know, they pop off guns. They want anything to shoot a gun off. Do y'all even know who just won? Y'all don't care. Y'all just want to pop off because everybody else.
I mean, you know, that's how the 4th of July was. Shit. But I'm saying, like, we gotta stand up in our spot, and we can't be mad when somebody comes up with a plan when we don't have one. We have to contribute to the plan. We can edit the plan. We can say, we don't like this part, you're gonna have to throw that out. We can say, this is what we have to contribute. But we can't just be mad because we ain't got no plan. And then somebody said, well, I got a plan, and this is what I'm gonna do with my plan.
Exactly.
What do you think, Brother Michael?
Exactly.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I enjoy everyone's opinions. Like, they've been, I've learned a lot, and like, as y'all saw, I've been like kind of writing down little things. What are we doing?
Somebody's phone is on. That's where the echo come from.
I don't know how this is going on right now. Okay. I got this laptop, y'all. Excuse me. I don't know what I'm doing.
All right. Just hit your mute button. You see the mute button?
Yeah,
If you get that, they won't hear none of your sounds.
Okay.
You'll see me do
Alana,
that.
work with me. This is the 21st century, okay? Ooh, Lord.
That's hard. You're doing good. You're doing good. Go ahead, Brother Michael.
okay, nah, just that was fun. Nah, just definitely. I definitely agree with a lot of the points that I've heard so far. However, I'm first of all, I want to point out that I don't identify with either political party. Like, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a independent. So I'm a every year, I guess you could say my vote is a vote that, you know, political parties are pursuing, because I'm not part of what is counted, right? I'm part of the people that they're trying to appeal to, so to speak, right? One of the things that I'll say about the whole Joe Biden thing is that we as Black people, I don't understand why Black people are celebrating Joe Biden getting into office, because when Ice Cube presented Joe Biden with a Black agenda, Joe Biden said he would talk to Ice Cube after the election. Joe Biden has gone on record saying what he plans to do for the LGBT fill in the rest community within his first 100 days of being in office. He said what he plans to do within his first 100 days for illegals, mainly illegals south of the border. There are certain plans put in place to defund the building of the wall. But yet, when it comes to addressing Black people's needs, it's we're going to talk to you after the election. And you even have Black people saying things as, oh, well, we're just going to wait. Well, like, wait for what? Like, this guy has, before you gave him your vote, he didn't have a plan for you. And now after he's in office, he's made it clear that he still doesn't have a plan for you. And yet people are celebrating that. So that part, I definitely don't understand. I also feel that if you notice how political parties market themselves toward other demographics, they market towards families. Yet when they talk to Black people, it's Black women, or it's Black LGBT, or it's Black trans. It's never Black family. It's never Black businesses. It's either minority businesses, Black and brown talk, but it's never Black family. It's never something that when they talk to other communities, how they talk to them. They don't go to the Latin community and strictly talk to Latin women. They talk to Latin families. They have programs for Latin families. I feel one of the problems that the Black community has is too many of us would rather be individuals than work as a group. Because when you work as a group, everybody is held accountable for what the group does. But you have too many people who would much rather choose to accomplish nothing on their own rather than be held accountable for being part of a successful group. I didn't understand people getting mad at Ice Cube. If you've ever, perfect example, if you're a local rapper, if you're trying to get a deal, whoever signs you is who you're gonna go with. Same thing with athletes when they get drafted. Like, I may like Nike, but if Puma comes offering more money, then I'm gonna sign with Puma, no matter how much I like Nike. So, like, some things are strictly business, and if you're not accustomed to doing business, then it's kind of hard to understand why somebody would do something that looks like it's that's not in their best interest. And that's.
But just ask, do you think that, like, when you say how people market to us, I believe that some of that is our fault, that we have to be held accountable for, because that's the picture that we often present. Like, I was in class the other night, and we, because of the climate of what's happening in the country, it was about Roe versus Wade and social reproductive justice. and we couldn't get through the conversation without it patriarchy coming up. And then when patriarchy came up, and I'm in there saying, well, let's talk about family planning. Let's not call it birth control. Like let's throw on the table that reproductive justice includes me having the right to have babies, just like the conversation is going to go heavy on abortion. I feel like we put that messaging out because we internalize everybody else's agenda. And then we say, well, when they talk to us, they say this. When they talk to us, they say this. But I
think
sometimes
accountability
in the conversation.
Definitely. I also think that sometimes people have a tendency to project negative stereotypes on Black people, and sometimes we as Black people accept that. Not every Black person comes from a single parent home, and not every Black person is a criminal. So when politicians come and talk to us and it's criminal reform and it's single mother, like, just truth of the matter, like, I know my dad, I know my dad's dad, I know his dad. Like, I don't come from this whole my father doesn't take care of me way of thinking. Like, nah, my entire life, every Black man I was ever exposed to had a career, took care of his family, and was a provider. So it wasn't until I became an adult that I was bombarded with all these situations where people can't give me an example of a positive Black man in their entire life. So when I hear the projections of single parent, I'm just kind of like, well, that doesn't apply to me. But I am a Black person, so like, shouldn't having a family be the goal instead of constantly looking at, because just kind of what you touched on, as a group, you can achieve more instead of being on your own. So instead of having babies without a family, we should focus on being a family, then have the babies. Seems simple.
Sometimes that order doesn't happen. I mean, that seems normalized, but unfortunately we live in a normal presidential world. And why I say that is because just because my mother and father weren't in a home together, they still co-parent exceptionally well.
I'm not knocking that. Like, well,
no.
I want to say that I'm not saying that separate isn't saying.
No, what I was saying is because you were blessed enough to have your fathers, and all your chain. My brother didn't have that in a sense, but he did have good people from like the church world, from like schools when we really had good teachers and good values. Those values just don't stick anymore. And it's coming from just the change of command and leadership. And it just shows how this country has went all the way left and then trying to come all the way back right. But what's your plan to bring us back that way? Like you said, I don't think it's going to be as easy as Biden thinks it's going to be. And I don't think Kamala really knows the work. This isn't like prosecuting and this isn't like lawyer stuff. You're dealing with a whole country. And I don't think no one's really understanding that.
I think that you're both right. But Michael, Calvin, you said something that was interesting that kind of went over everybody's head. I don't think it's a either or. I do think in this world, we really do cater to people who we think are broken. And we do not present Black people as a family unit. That's what he's saying. He didn't say that didn't exist. He just says all you get to see is the ones that are broken, and then we back it up. So we don't, like, even in advertisements, you don't see a Black man, Black woman, Black child. You'll see a black man, white woman, mixed child, but they will not show Black family together where everybody's Black.
No,
we can't negate
and happy and prosperous.
Plan. Keep us separated. I think it feels like in the Black world, there's not enough room at the table for all of us. We only pick and choose who we want at the table. And unfortunately, it does feel like the Black man is being excluded from the table unless he's wearing a dress.
Yes.
And I don't say it like that against anybody, but I don't get to see the man anymore at the table. We'll be like, you're toxic. It's like, what? The heck? What?
Name an intelligent Black man that's on television. Name an intelligent masculine Black man that's on television regularly.
Never. Probably one. Never.
She said never.
Because they're either wrapped in wolf clothing or they blow up or something. I just don't see it.
Like Black man on steroids. If I multiply, what was you gonna say?
Do we allow politicians and do we allow public opinion too often to determine what our values are? Like, that sounds like an inside job for the Black community. Some of that is also about what we value. It's about things on the outside of us reflecting what it is that we have declared that we value, and we don't negotiate it. You know what I'm saying? Like Javon said, we take everybody else's stuff and internalize it and then try to make it our own. If we stopped assimilating to everyone else's stuff, and our integration, people been saying forever, integration wasn't really our friend. But if we think about being in integrity, like that's about showing up with the things that you value, showing your life reflecting the things that you value. And so until we do that, we really can't complain about people, how they take us, because that's something that we need to discuss with amongst ourselves. Like, what are the things that we value? When we say Black Lives Matter, what do we mean? And if we really meant that all Black lives matter, then that would be reflected in our stance on reproductive justice, because that has to do with Black women and infant mortality, birth outcomes. Is it reflected in healthcare? Our concern with education, is it reflected in when we talk about the criminal justice system? Are we talking about how Black women are dropping like flies? Do we mean, and everybody gets so excited about Kamala, and I kind of got an attitude about it because I feel like y'all don't really care about Black women. If y'all cared about Black women, you would be talking about way more stuff than just Kamala. Before Kamala got elected, you would have been discussing how Black women are dropping like flies all over the country at the hands of Black men. So
I don't think
she's talking about Black femicide, and that has been documented. That's somebody's real job.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when the values that we say that we hold dear, like, do our lives reflect those values? And then can we push that agenda? You know what I'm saying? Because we are positioned to push the agenda. But it's just
hold on, y'all.
We have the courage.
Hold on, let me let Mike B get in here. We got Mike C and Mike B. Hey, Mike B, how you doing?
What's going on? I don't know what's wrong with this net, man. It's been tripping. But I cut off, but I was hearing the brother speak.
Well, Michael, welcome to the
oh man, come on, man.
We are the panelists that are taking nothing lightly, okay?
Right on.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the election win? I mean, is it a win for us? Can we get this Black agenda pushed forward? Like, what's going on?
I mean, it's a space and a place where if people are going to try to push change, now's the time. You know what I'm saying? There's a break in whatever. You know what I'm saying? To kind of make a change. If this is, I think what happened. I was listening to the brother talk, and what happens is that I don't know. We get emotional and start supporting people, and we ain't got no reason, and we support them and we running behind them. That's what we do. Other ethnicities don't do it, but that's what we do. And we get in the streets and get to dance, especially if it's some music on. But we're not looking at the back end.
I told you, we'll start flying.
Right. Right. We're not looking at the back end politics of what's going on, right? Because what they do is they throw the music on, you let you get your groove on, right? So I don't have a problem with what I went to Howard, man. I know how it is. I've been to homecomings, many homecomings, you know what I'm saying? But what happens is at the end of the day, you guys, is we gotta organize locally. Like I'm never at national stuff to ever make a change in my life. Like it's so far away. I lived in DC for 12 years. I know how it is. You know what I'm saying? So when people always look to see what politicians have done for them, I always ask them, what have you done? Period. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is if we're doing what we need to do here locally as a group and as a tribe and as a collective, then we won't have to depend on them. You know what I'm saying? We won't have to depend on what they talk about. You know what I mean? So I think for us, this is, I mean, it's more the same. I woke up the next day, I was the same, same situation, same house, same. So I don't see it being, unless we do something, I don't see us, it ain't nothing big, it didn't save us, so I don't know.
Wait a minute, Sean, wait a minute. You have
to go
Black
back to what the brother was saying, I think a lot of times.
At Howard, and she belonged to this sorority, and Black folks immediately started doing tribal shit. Let's just be honest. she's a diss. I don't know if she's a diss or a scooter. I don't know. They talked about all the things that black bourgeoisie Negroes do when they say this is where black people are trying to get to. But what if you didn't go to Howard? You know, what if you don't want to belong to Jack and Jill and want the hill? What if you don't want to? Well, I mean, how are you going to help the regular black folks in the street?
But that's the same thing like when the councilman said,
but that's what you see. You see them always promote.
Oh, Lord help us. Lord help us. Please forgive us. Don't put that on my hood. Please don't put that on my hood.
But
no. Lord, people just make this stuff.
They always promote. They always promote black people like that, right? That are part of all these groups because they fit in categories, right? You know what an AKA is, and you know what Howard. It fits into that, right? It's safe. It's it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just find it ironic, man. I watch all these celebrations, and I'm like, man, where are we? Are we somewhere different? Like, am I missing something? I don't know. But again, like I said, bro, Michael, what happens is that I oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to piggyback on what you were saying, Michael. It's just all this jumping and screaming and all this confetti and all this junk in the street. It's insane because I don't even see you guys show up to an association meeting in the hood. Like, I don't even see you do the basic work.
Exactly.
At the national, you not gonna never touch the hem of Kamala's garment. You ain't gonna never sit at the table with bites. I'm confused. I'm really confused.
You said the hem of the garment like Jesus, my nigga. That was a biblical reference right there.
That's your reparations, my sister. It's having her.
I don't know.
She said touch the garment.
Like I don't trust Kamala. Okay, first of all, Kamala, you were in Frisco. You were the highest prosecutor, and you just discredited black people to the utmost. You were so disrespectful. I don't know why your sorority sisters is jumping around like you just King Jaffe. I don't understand all of this. I just don't understand this. And Joe, I'm so mad at you because you were the one that implemented a lot of this criminal stuff that's happening right now. So I'm like Michael Melvin said, I'm just like, should I be Democrat or should I be Republican or should I just do nothing? It's hard now to say what you really.
Well, no, I vote. I'm just not part of. I'm just not in a gang, I guess, if you want to call it that.
I don't want to be in a gang. That's probably the problem. I need to sit on the bench and just watch. Jeez.
Yeah, I think what was disappointing to me yesterday, I was watching the news yesterday, and we all, I can say we all, but people voted for Kamala. I'm sorry, I just say we voted for her, and everybody said this was this is the first woman Black vice president. But that wasn't the messaging yesterday. They could not outright call her Black, but Black people outright called her Black. And I'm not even challenging, the Blackness part. I'm saying
she's never referred to herself as Black. Most Jamaicans refer to themselves as Jamaican. They don't call themselves Black.
I'm supposed to just take
yesterday though. Hold on a minute. Yesterday, the news, every time they mentioned her name, they said an Asian Black woman or an Indian Black woman. And I thought part of that for me feels like our problem because we just accept. I mean, I feel like with Obama, they said a Black man with a white mama, and I feel like we still haven't figured out, like, you don't get to run as the Black candidate, but when you win, you're not the Black candidate, you the Asian Black candidate. Like, okay, your mama Indian or whatever, but you would think she would self-identify. I am a Black woman and my mom is Indian. And I think we struggle in the community with what to call all these different mixes. But if you run as a Black woman and you have to be a Black woman, and she needs to start correcting some of this media because she got Black people cheering for a Black woman, and then there's no alliance. I feel like as soon as they Black woman, then now what are you? Now are you going to be beholden to the Indians or the Blacks?
She's never going to get that credit.
She's never identified as Black. She's never ran as being Black. The only thing Black about her was she went to a HBCU, and then all of that HBCU
she liked Tupac. She had hot sauce.
Yeah. I mean, she said her favorite rapper was dead. Right?
No, we made Clinton black.
Yeah, I mean, I just, man, I don't want to be part of that because I've had older people than me tell me Bill Clinton was black because he played a saxophone. And I'm like, how am I supposed to take your opinion seriously?
That he played the saxophone. He also cheated on his wife. He also smoked weed. Now, let's just be honest.
All these negative things are supposed to be a black thing. Like, I don't get that. I don't co-sign that.
That's what we inherited because we gotta be.
No, don't say we, not we.
Is that what our campaign of relevancy? It's not, it don't have nothing to do with what they stand for as a candidate. It's a campaign of relevancy. They know that Black people want to see themselves everywhere so bad that we will grab onto anything that looks like it might be us. And that's an identity problem that we have. We're going to have to work that out. But when we talk about being an integral part of the political process, that's a whole nother conversation. That ain't got nothing to do with whether or not Kamala is black, because what does the vice president really do? Let's talk about that. And then, to me, the highlight of this election was Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
Now that's who I thought was going to be a critical piece, and I thought that's who he was going to bring, the blackity black, because she was really black.
No.
I thought he would pull her in.
She didn't want to be the vice president. And
that's
he wasn't going to bring Stacey Abrams in. Oh no.
Yes.
When I see the power,
no.
He didn't want her to have more power because she would have took full-fledged control, I think, of this country because she has
watch how she does it without being in office.
Yeah.
Watch her.
She's pushing the whole state right now. When she pushed the whole state the way she did, I said, this is the black woman ain't no joke. Because she was strong.
Right. No, he knew to pick Kamala. He knew to pick Kamala because that was a little, that was a little safer. He knew Abrams. Yeah, he's gonna have to come right with Abrams.
That was called colorism. Let's just keep it all the way down.
Yes.
Stacey Abrams is always the historical big black mama who comes in and saves and fixes everybody. Now, historically, we know that that's a real person.
Yeah.
That's not some stuff that they drew up in Hollywood. We know in our communities, when I hear people say they don't date black women, you go home and you see that big black mama, cooking dinner for them. Let's be honest, y'all. So we know colorism at the end of the day. Come on. I mean, Kamala knew that. I mean, come on, her and Obama. Come on.
I just feel like she's held accountable now because I feel like that's her first out for accountability to the community is this whole Asian black thing. And I feel like yesterday I thought about the same thing, that's an off repeating issue for us, is that people get to say one thing and then be another. And as she starts the job and she's introduced like this, it's like, no, ma'am, you ran as a black woman, you got these black votes and you're going to have to produce. I just think it should be.
How do we push with Ice Cube and many others? How do we push that a plan for black folks? Because we could always have our own opinions. That's great. But black people not getting something is unacceptable when every other group is here who did not build America got something. From the first so-called black president, he made sure they got something.
But I don't take Ice Cube. I don't take all those people like those Hollywood. I don't take them serious.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there because I know Ice Cube. I'm not trying to be funny. I know who he was back in the 2000s. In the 90s, because I met him through Kala Muhammad. He's not just your regular rapper. He has origins in the nation. He's done some work, so he's not like some other Negroes out here in Hollywood. That's not who Ice Cube is. He didn't put together a plan. No, but I just have to let you know. He didn't write that on his own. He had a team of educated people who were economists and everything. Help him write that, who have track record. And all I'm saying is, I only use Ice Cube because, his plan was a plan that I understood. I don't understand other Negroes up here talking about give us all college education. I don't want that. I need some cash money.
Kanye, I'm not going to an HBCU. I'm 40. I'm not going to an HBCU. I'm 40. Giving money to a black college does nothing for me.
I do want my loans forgiven.
Cut the check. That's what I want. Cut the check and I'll do whatever I want to. Run me my money. Same thing like the stimulus. Y'all didn't. They didn't ask questions. They cut the check.
Kelly, what was you going to say?
No, what I was going to say. You got to remember, Rolanda, that we're all on the bet. See, Ice Cube and them come from the same world that we do.
Oh yes,
so from the same world that we do. Coming from LA, we get it. I get his struggles. I get where he's coming. I know where he's trying to go. But what I'm trying to say is implement this all the time. I think Ice Cube came later in the due process, but I think for me, I would have came on the forefront. I would have been there from the day the stuff when Joe said he was running. I would have looked for those people right there. Not saying that Ice Cube isn't solid. I just felt a lot of them, even Obama. I think he came out late on the trail. He came out.
So this is what he did say, and because I've been following his work, he said, "I thought, and I could agree to this, that we had Black people who had this covered." He said, but when I realized that those people weren't pushing nothing for Black people, not immigrants, not lesbian, gay people, not like that. He's talking about for Black people. He said then he needed to jump in and do something. So I would rather for him to jump in anytime he felt like it than just be sitting on the side saying, well, I thought that was your job, because we do a lot of that in the Black community. We wait till the last damn minute and be like, I thought you was going to take care of that. Well, should I have been there? Well, jump in anytime. So he just jumped in, but he didn't jump in as Ice Cube. He jumped in with some people that he knew. He didn't just say, these are my Negroes over here. We're going to build something for us. He's like, can you bring that expertise over here and let's write up something? And my thing is, all of us should have something written up. We in these streets, like we say we in these streets, we should be buying a property in these streets, not buying a bunch of makeup and hair weave and clothes as soon as they write up. If you look at collectively what we spend on bullshit, we could own our block. We really could. Black people are the major group of hair. When you talk about the hair care industry, we buying weave for $1,000.
Wow.
But we rent is $1,200.
Wait, Rolanda, wait a minute. Hold on now. I do buy funnels now, but I ain't buying no $1,100. I ain't going back. I'm being funny. I do funny.
I'm just saying,
I don't care. I don't. You know.
The money we spend in these streets.
She was just talking about doing some hair before the show started.
Let's go to supporting the plan. Like, all we have to do is get a coalition of people together, to work on the plan. I don't think it's really difficult. I think we just have to commit. And everybody's not going to back the plan. There's going to be people who back other plans. But for the people who want to back Ice Cube's plan, I think that would be a vast group of people, and we could find representation all across the country, and they just need to work on the plan so that we have something to submit. And I don't think that's difficult. I just think it's a conversation that we have to have, and we can pull together if that's what we'd like to do.
So Javon, I'm glad you said that, because I know that you belong to the Nation of Islam, and you're probably one of the only few people that I know, I'm not trying to clown, who, if somebody come up with a plan for buying houses, I watch you to put your own money in and be like, let's buy these houses. Because you come from a culture where that's what people do. Let's just be honest, whether if you in it or not. So some of us do come from backgrounds where we do help each other buy houses. Yeah, we really do that. But sometimes I feel like we forget that we have that power. And all I'm saying, I looked at that plan. It talked about opportunities for Black people around. It talked about banking and lending, which most of us can't get a real loan. That's why we have to go to other illegal shit to get money. Everybody
does illegal shit to get money.
I might just have to cash up your show. You preaching right now, girl.
No, but the thing is, we do that alone. It's not that we can't get a loan. Other communities say, I can't get a loan, but I'm going to get 20 people. We struggle with doing things together. And especially at the basis, we talk a lot about freedom, but we don't think about the things like food, clothing, and shelter. So, thinking about buying farmland, thinking about producing, thinking about who feeds. But those things don't have to be done separate, but that's how we've been taught by that's how we've been tricked. Yeah, we have to be separate. But if 20 people buy some land, then it's not a burden. Then you don't need a loan. Then you don't have to worry about begging somebody. I live right now. I'm living in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We were hit by 2 strong hurricanes in a 6-week period. In the Black community in Lake Charles, it's the older community and the houses are older. You know, they built out around it, but the houses are older. So many homes that Black people owned in North Lake Charles did not have insurance on them. So those homes are not going to be able to be fixed. And a lot of people, not all, but many people will lose their property. So there's a situation where you're looking at a community where the local Black people may not have the resources they need to buy the property up, where we could be buying that property up to make sure that the community still gets to live in those lots. And then even before the hurricane, they had something like 800 adjudicated properties, which means they were about to go up to, they were taken for taxes, right? There are opportunities where we can take over communities, but they take sacrifice, and you might not want to live there. People, you know, we don't want to live in the country. We don't want to do this, or we don't, but the people who do want to do it, there are opportunities. They're about to be selling properties, the land for $6,000-$7,000 for a lot. You know, I'm from San Francisco. That'll never happen. I just moved to Lake Charles 2 years ago and bought a 5-acre farm for $190,000. Crawfish pond, stocked fish pond. You've been there, Ro, several times. So and then another house I bought for $200,000, brand new 4-bedroom house. So there are opportunities for us. But it always seems so big because we're not thinking about family. We're not thinking about how to feed the neighbors, how to be in unity often. And we're not going to be given that from Joe Biden or Kamala. You saw Kamala family. Come on now. She's not thinking about how to get us the resources we need. She's distracted.
Yeah. And we can't blame nobody that we can't come together and come up with a plan for ourselves. There's no one to blame for that.
Right.
If we just have to fix it. That's all we have to do. If one person don't want to do it, go ask somebody else. That person don't want to do it, ask somebody else. It takes persistence and it takes clarity in order to execute a plan. And if we, the people who have that, because some people may not be in a position to be that clear. Maybe they hungry, maybe they outdoors. Then the people who have it, it's our responsibility to do that. If we say we care so much about the Black community, like that's our job. And it's not just talking to other people about our problems, because what they have to offer is white supremacist delusion. They have a way to show you how to be more like white people so you might could win.
Oh, I'm about to catch you right there, girl. You
So one of the things that and I just want to say that everybody has dropped some very good and valid points. So I just want to give a big up to the whole panel. But like one of the things that's even been common now is that even when we start with talking about our plans, we start with the people who can't do. Like, so even when we're talking about doing something, we're literally starting with the people that aren't qualified. So like, that is literally the problem, is that we need to stop thinking of the people that aren't going to do, because just truth of the matter, my circle of Black people isn't the first people y'all think of lazy niggas. Like, lazy niggas ain't my circle of Black people. I don't run with Black people who, oh, this is hard, so we can't do it. Like, I don't. So it seems like even when we get started with making plans, we are wasting too much time making excuses for the people that aren't even going to be here. Like, we're literally talking about the niggas who aren't going to be part of the plan.
Right.
And we're focusing on them. Like, we're literally focusing on, well, you know, there's people that they're not gonna, you know, they can't read, they can't do this, they can't. Well, then they need to do all that before they show up anyway. We need to work with the people that are able, because truth of the matter is there are way more Black people that are able and willing. It's just we focus on the slow people, which truth of the matter, man. Just in terms of how life is, man, elevation requires, some people are going to get left. Like that's well, excuse me, evolution requires elevation. So bottom line is some people are going to get left. And it seems like too many Black people see other Black people as the Black people that are going to be left, instead of seeing themselves as the Black people that have accomplished. Just truth of the matter, every Black person that is alive today, you come from the slave that didn't die. Period. Like you are literally a walking embodiment of accomplishment. And yet the only thing you want to mentally think about is all the niggas that can't make it. And yet you're being alive, your mother, your grandfather, your this, your that. Just you being alive is a testament that there is something inside you that is built to get the job done, but yet you're looking at the people who can't get the job done and you're seeing yourself in them instead of seeing yourself as the indestructible being in which you are, which is why you're here today. Like it is a fact. You are the slaves they did not kill. And yet you talking about what you can't do.
And like I think what happens is,
go ahead, Brother Michael.
I think what happens is, brother, that matter of fact, I know what happens is that, and it's weird because not only Black people, but why everyone concentrates on the socially constructed identity of African Americans, right? Everybody concentrates on that as to what it's supposed to be, right? And if you see it, what the media promotes as, you know, who we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be, it's ridiculous. Like you said, I don't run with them either. You know, you look at this panel right here. None of us fit into that mold that they're trying to promote and push. So we have to get out of that mindset of you know, almost kind of looking at ourselves from a cup half full, half empty and half full. The cup is half full. When I see you six, I'm like, yo, let's go. You know what I'm saying? We have the mental capacity, we have the planning abilities to move forward. It's unfortunate, you know, Ro and I working this work. Some of them we just not gonna catch them, B. Like, and it hurts, you know, but we spend so much time concentrating. I hear people all the time, and I don't talk about my kids being at risk. I talk about them being at promise. You know what I'm saying? I don't do the at risk thing, right? Because it's just, I ain't doing that. But what happens is that we spend so much time concentrating on those that need the most help that we neglect those who are ready to do the work. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And we got to get away from that. Those that are ready to do the work, we need to grab them, because there's some youngsters out there. Grab them and say, hey, look, we understand, let's go. There'll be some that need more work. You know what I'm saying? But we can't, we tend to concentrate all our efforts on them, and we forget about the ones that are ready to do the work. So the ones that are ready to do the work, you know what they do? Because they're lacking that attention, they start to revert back, right? And that's what we see in our communities now. You see these really good kids, and they're relating to gang culture, right? Because that's those kids are getting the most attention, right? Those kids who are involved in that. So we gotta create something, man, where we start looking at where we can start to grab our youth, the ones that are ready, because there's ones that are ready. And the proof that they're ready is that they didn't pass a that would allow them to vote at 17. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that because they knew that voice that was coming from the youth was going to be powerful and was going to make some changes. So they stopped that. Right? So I'm saying, in terms of developing a solution, like you said, brother, we got to stop concentrating on what the part that the U.S. has socially constructed for us and the way we're supposed to act and the lazy nigga. And then we got to get away from that, man. Look at who's ready to do the work. That's why I'm not mad at Cube. Listen, Death Certificate is my favorite album. That album saved my life, man. That's like, you know what I'm saying? So,
man, Friday is legendary.
I could see Cube saying in his mind, like Rose said, ain't nobody doing nothing. So,
ain't my job.
I'm a this. I'm saying, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Do you think, though, that it's possible for us to do all the things we say? If black men, hold on. If black men,
let's go.
No, I was going to say, do you think it's possible for us to do all of these politically if black men and black women, if we're not able to come to some kind of medium with each other?
No. Which is why I started saying that until we build the family, until the focus is back on being a family unit, because one of the things that I talked about is accountability. Like, come on now, sex doesn't just happen. You don't just get single and pregnant. Like, come on now, like we've all had sex on this panel. You gotta be attracted to a motherfucker. They gotta be attracted to you. Y'all gotta exchange numbers. Y'all gotta actually find a time, place to do it. Like, there are so many things that are accountable as to how you end up having sex that people just can't be acting like, oh, it rained and a motherfucker got pregnant. Like, nah, there was a whole lot of unaccountability. And now you want to be like, man. Like,
hold on, Mike. See, look, that's one way. I'm just talking about in terms of us being able just to respect, not even the intimate part. If I see what I hear a lot of men saying, and this happened to me in the district that I work in, where it's like, oh, the black woman was against this one black man. It's like, well, we don't think this person respects. Why should I be supporting this damn person? Like, we never be room to say, well, who is this person? It's more than you just being black. You have to come with something.
Yes. We need to do more background checks.
It just kills me because they don't have a platform. They don't have an agenda. If the agenda is there, it's a hidden agenda for them. It's not for us. That's the part that kills me. People are always talking about the black man, this black woman, this black woman is going to this White House and she ain't getting ready to touch us with a 10-foot pole. I promise you. She not gonna touch us. She ain't got no plan for us. She getting ready to bless her because you know what? Her husband is a snowman that's sitting on the next to her. She's gonna make show. And everything that's saying that goes is gonna be something that she's gonna look at through a lens of a white. I hate to say,
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Right on the money.
Bro, you was there when Jerry Scott said that black people are conceptually incarcerated. Like, we have to begin to build our own standards for things. If we want to be in a position of power, part of having power and freedom is responsibility. If we base all of our judgments on whether someone is their readiness, whether they're a viable candidate for anything on white supremacist delusion, we still using the same ruler that was handed to us, then we can't move into a place of freedom. And the thing is, we have to be free before we can get freedom. Or whatever we think is being withheld from us, we have to root out the part of it that we're withholding from ourselves. And so the thing that has to happen is we have to begin to break out of our concept of what's good and what's not good for us based on what somebody else has told us. And then we can judge between black women and men based on character. We were so worried about somebody judging us on something other than character. We never got to the part where we start looking at each other's character and saying, hey, you can't do that in my community. That's not going to fly. We let a lot of movements go through the motions and fail based on the character of the people that were in charge. We have to vet our own leadership. We don't just let somebody, we're not calling everybody black. If you're not representing us, no. Go sit down. That's not the terminology you get to use. You could say you are a descendant of an enslaved African, and you just happen to be an American citizen, call yourself an American citizen, or whatever the case may be, but you're not going to be up in here talking about you repping black people, and you ain't doing nothing for black people. And if we do that on a local level, trust me, if in places where black people live, breathe, and move, we did that on a local level, it would not fly in the national setting.
Now, look, we've had somebody walk up in the Sacramento that's not from Sacramento acting like he's checking everybody in Sacramento. And I watch people let him do it. I watch people let him do it, even though, so it's kind of like, there was a time where you couldn't do stuff like that. You just couldn't walk up into somebody's neighborhood and be like, I'm taking this, like, this ain't Nino Brown. Like, it don't work like that. So what do we have to do as black men and black women? How do we resolve this? How do we begin to at least look at it? And because some of this out of controlness, no, the powers to be is not going to help us. This has something to do with us and having those real conversations with each other. Setting those boundaries and standards.
You say, yeah, I feel you. I think it's like I said, I think, one thing in kind of looking at identity, right? and kind of looking at identity and what you identify with is we have to, and we need to come to nation, like the sister said. That's basically what's going to have to happen. If we're going to start to nation build, we need to come up with, what that's going to look like. What love looks like in that, what economics looks like in that, and then we can then start to, kind of put that out in the universe. You know what I'm saying? As to what will be accepted and what won't be accepted. See, a lot of men, unfortunately for us, is brothers might be conscious, but they date what they see physically, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is that it draws you out of that. And so very distracted society. And I'm gonna keep it real. I'm a man, so I'm gonna keep it real.
I'm gonna keep it real. Right so now, you preach it now.
I feel like I need more details, but I feel like I got it.
Yeah. So let me say this. Because you anyway, I don't know how. Anyway, so
elaborate, my brother, elaborate.
What I'm saying is we have to, you all, in working with these young men in the neighborhood doing some gang mediation, it's weird because it's like you're the toughest feminine dressed person I ever seen in my life. You see what I'm saying? There's a level of confusion that's there. And that comes from the fact that there's no identity. There's no real identity. They don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so in terms of developing that love that we need to move forward between Black men and Black women especially, we have to come up with a set of ideals, a set of rules, regulations, whatever you want to call them, where we see eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? And those that don't.
Okay, Mike is frozen, y'all. He gonna come back. Okay, there you go. You back? Cause you freezing? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh that long.
Man, the hardest feminine dress.
I can't with him. He is super funny, but he's so
no harm, no foul.
He's still talking. We can't hear you, bro, because you're freezing. And you was freezing the whole time, so.
After the hardest feminine dressed dudes, it seemed like they muted you after that. Like some young niggas jumped into. Some young niggas was like, "I'll set that nigga up." Right?
Look, as we do the wrap up, right? Because we got to wrap. I keep going. So this is my question to y'all. I'm gonna let each of y'all answer it. Where do you think we should go from here? He had to bring us up back on. Where do you think we have to go from here? Just your idea. If you could put one idea into the universe that we could work on, where do we go from here?
We just got to get structure. We have no structure. We're kind of all over the place. We need structure. We need more transparency, and we need to work together. Our race is just a divide and conquer. We got to have one more dollar than the other one, or one more better shirt than the other one. We just so in competition, and it's so way bigger than us. It's way bigger than us. It's a whole race that we're fighting amongst each other. Because like I believe the sister was saying, Black Lives Matter, they'll get out there and protest, but they won't show up to nothing that has to do with children and families, nothing with seniors, nothing with purchasing homes, nothing with putting our money together and opening up stuff. We'll just do other stuff. But when it all comes down to it, we need to continue to work together, strategize, come in with a plan, and block the poison that's within. Block it. That's why we're cleaning house in our own district. You're not gonna come here and push over and do none of that. We're not accepting it. We're like the bouncer at the door. We ain't having it. Right so on. That's gonna be the big for sure.
Right on. Mike, I know you're just getting back. We're all starting to give if you could, the one thing, what do Black people do now? If you can come up with one thing that we can do now, what would that be? And Sister Kelly, thank you so much for always just being a part of these awesome conversations. I think we just got to keep having these conversations for real as we're working. We all work. So who else? Ifeoma Odupe, you ready to go with yours?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing I've been saying since before the election, which is we need to develop shared values in a way to articulate them that's in alignment with each other. And then everybody doesn't have to work on the same thing, but you do what you do and I do what I do. But we understand that we're all working from the same set of shared values so that everything that I do benefits even the people who can't show up, and everything that you do benefits the people who can show up. who can't show up for you. And so we all are moving forward, but we don't have to take the same lane, and we make sure that all bases are covered. But if we share the same values, then we know we all moving in the same direction.
Right on. Mike B, you want to go in case your internet goes out? I feel like I need to be utilizing you.
Yeah, man, I don't know what it is. Something, but let me say this. What I want to say is this. Here's what we can do. You know what we can do? I can get behind Aoife and support her. That's what I can get behind Mama Earth Healing, and I can support her. I can get behind the brother Mike and support him. That's what we can do individually. We can start getting behind those movements that are going forward and that are positive, and start support them. So if that set of shared values and things like that, man, I can sit down as a Black man and we can work on how we develop those together, that type of thing, and push things that are nation building, pushing our people forward. That's what we can do. We can get behind and support, because what we do see a lot of times is we see the work going on, right? We see this person in this community doing this, and then we try to start something and do the look. Let's start getting behind each other and supporting each other. You know what I'm saying? That's what we can start doing is just being positive in energy and positive in support.
Right on. What about you, Sister Javon?
I would definitely want to agree with the value system. Just thinking about the foundation, though, I think it is up to us to help pull a value system together for our younger people, because until we do that, we won't have anything for them to stand on. So we can't talk about wealth building or any of these other things until we start getting taking back our young people and bringing them back into the community so that they feel a part and they're accountable. I think that's so very important. I also think that we have to do better. I know you said one, but I'm gonna give you two. I think we have to do better at implementation. Like the next time I get on a call with you, Ro, I want us to leave with homework. Like we have to do better at implementing what we talk about, because we talk a lot. We've been talking about this election. We've been talking about Trump. We've been talking about Kamala. But at some point, we all got to do something small, and it has to be intentional. It can't be, that we're just let free to go and do something. It has to be intentional, so that we can, that's how we're going to make movement, is by having homework and having deeds to do.
And I'll take that challenge, homework, Javon. Brother Michael C.
I feel like following the trend, or following the thought process of we all do something different. A lot of some people have talked about family. Some people have talked about values. Some people have talked about supporting each other. What I would say is that Black people, we got to focus on our economics, and we got to focus on getting our money right. Black entrepreneurship is something that isn't preached in most Black households. In most Black households, you're taught to go to college and get a job. And a job isn't something that can be passed on. When you build your own business, first of all, you've allowed yourself to employ others as well as employ yourself. And that's something that can be left to your children, your children's children, and your children's children. And not only is it something that can be left, it's something that gives everybody a leg up. So we as Black people need to not only focus on supporting our Black entrepreneurs, but we need to cultivate a mentality and an environment that encourages Black men to not only be their own boss, but actually run a company, not just look at this as something that it's just a hustle. Like side note about myself. I'm a comedian, and just one of the things that I learned is that if you look at this as a hustle, then you're not going to make money. If you look at this as a career, then you're going to look for the opportunities that allow you to advance. So one of the things that we need to do as the elders is we need to encourage our youth to look into entrepreneurship. And then we as elders, we need to fund and support their entrepreneurship, so that way they don't have to take it all on the chin, because life is hard enough when you don't have money, and it's also hard enough when you don't have guidance. So the people of us that have lived, that have experience, We need to share our experiences, and we need to share our finances with those that are young and Black entrepreneurs.
Right on. Well, thank you all for joining me as we take a look at Black folks in this election and just us as a community, period. This is so important. We got to keep the conversation going along with the work, with some homework. And so I'll see you all next week with another group of Black folks talking about what's going on, what we're working on, and what we are doing. Y'all have a great night. Peace and blessings.